These men looking at the women and children and men being scanned and laughing, all these photos of them smiling as the naked woman is in the scanner. This is a strip search. We've got to show the public that. Alan Watt, what do you think of my idea? My wife's idea.
It's it could go either way, actually. I was thinking of someone who did that over the last few years as a big art publicist.
Yeah, they do it in major cities from New York to Madrid.
Yeah, and so in a sense, it becomes almost acceptable. And we're also living in a culture that's been promoting this, again, from certain quarters for certain purposes.
Well, Alan, I understand that the globalists at certain levels have been desensitizing, but this is using their own system against them.
Mm-hmm. I think people should all turn up fully clothed and just put the protest out there. That's how I want to stay. You know, but personally, I don't want. What's going to get pushed here is the fact that they're going to have.
No, Alan. This is why I disagree with you, and I rarely do. They're making you take your clothes off in the scanner. We are saying, look at what you want us to do. I think it's going to be devastating to them. But
I'll tell you what I would do. I'll tell you what I would do personally. I would just take photographs of all the mass graves of World War II and the Soviet Union, of all the naked bodies, and have big placards of that. And
genius.
And saying, we're not going to end up like this. No, thank you.
Exactly. Being unclothed, taking your shoes off, then all your clothes. It's a supplication. It's like herding people in to be shot in pits, stripping them down naked. Oh, man, that's another great thought right there. That'd be a good poster. Dead bodies with the image of the naked woman from the scanner saying, we've seen this before. Don't airport scan. Go ahead.
Yeah, because that's where you have to get in as to where this is going. It's not fun. It's not fun. It's degradation. It's the dehumanization of the individual and the people in general, human beings in general. And it's not going to
training us. We have no dignity, no privacy. Yeah. All the big government making us do it.
Yes, and they've already said that they're going to keep these files forever. And they can also project how you're going to look in 10, 20, 30 years' time, according to all your profile and your genetic history and yada yada. And they'll be able to spot you wherever you are in the world.
It's a biometric body scan. Absolutely,
yeah.
Alan.
Yeah. So really, what they're telling you is not only do you not own your body, you own nothing. You don't even own the patents to your own genes. They're telling you you're a piece of property.
And they're telling us that they take all our baby's blood at birth. That's now admitted.
Oh, yes, and Australia came out through the fact they've been doing it for 30 years. One of the listeners went to get it back from them. They have them stored up in certain quarters. He wasn't allowed to get a hold of it 30 years ago.
Globally implemented 37 years ago.
Yep.
Absolutely, Alan. Stay there. Let's go over the body scanners, the humiliation, a lot more. And we want more ideas. Everybody take action. We're going to expose the naked body scanners, shocking the public into seeing how much we're being made to reveal. There's an article up on prisonplanet.com by Steve Watson with the headline, Breaking the Will of the People, the real purpose of body scanners. And you scroll down, it shows the Nazis and others strip-searching women in World War II. And that's what this is really all about. Going back to Alan Watt, great idea pointing out that they always strip you down before they kill you. I mean, it's a real act of submission. Do you agree with me that this telling everyone you will be naked body scanned is a key point in our conditioning and we must resist it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a definite one because Blair was talking about this long before this happened, this latest farcical incident. And it's an ongoing process of personalization, dehumanization, and getting the public to accept the fact that they're nothing but cattle. Literally, you're nothing but cattle. And you feel small, you start to obey and submit. Submission is what they're after for what's coming after this. But if I was going to have a demonstration, I'd also have them wear those fake tattoos on their forearms as well, or barcodes and all the rest of it as well, just to prove a point. This was all done before, and this is where it ends up in these pits with bulldozers pushing bodies into pits. That's what I'd say. Yeah.
That's a great idea. Hand out images of the women in the naked body scanners with barcodes on their heads. Add that, or women and men can put barcodes on their heads, on their bodies, paint themselves with barcodes as some type of covering. Now, that's another excellent idea, Alan. Of course, what comes next here is medicalizing all this, taking blood and urine at the checkpoints. That's already happening under federal grants, warrantless taking of blood. They're also implementing, now announcing the DNA databases they've had globally implemented for 37 years. All of this, implantable microchips comes next. They're pushing that. They want in our bodies.
Well, they decided a long time ago that a stage would come where they'd have to gradually eradicate most of humanity so that 1 million people could live in high luxury. That's a statement still put out by the United Nations today. They say that we can either live as 7 or 8 billion peasants at a low state of living, or 1 million people can live in a high state. So they're bringing us down through sterilization, through the total destruction of the family, don't have children. And it's an ongoing long-term project. But in the meantime, they must further dehumanize, because it's humiliated, submissive to the authorities. And when you're trained, the whole technique of training is to first break the first priority, which is self-preservation and rights. You break that, and you
modesty.
To the next level.
And modesty. Everybody knows the most evil governments strip you.
And see, what it presents is no privacy.
What do they do when you first come into a prison? They strip you and do a medical exam to humiliate you.
And they hose you down, yeah. They hose you down in front of the other prisoners, and they laugh at you, make jokes about you. And that's all part of it. So humiliate the people.
And when they arrested the protesters and my camera guy, they tortured Luke Radowski and others, made fun of them when they went to the bathroom, strung them up naked, and had troops there running it.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And they joke away and laugh away, whether you're male or female.
And, of course, that's really dehumanizing the soldiers as well.
It does. It actually brutalizes them. It teaches them to be more brutal, because there's an odd thing happens. It's been tested many times with different experiments, that they get into their roles. They begin to despise the meek and humble, groveling prisoners, and they become brutal. This is standard fare. Yeah.
And then they have their Project Hostile Intent, where they're face scanning your facial expression, saying, oh, you were frowning. That's my probable cause that you're a terrorist.
Exactly. In fact, they don't like any possible comeback. They take it personally when you look them in the eye, and they actually teach special forces what to do when you're in prison. Be humble, always look at the floor, never look it in the eye.
And remember 1984 when Winston said you had to watch the look on your face?
Well,
we're now here.
Yeah, this is an old technique. You see, even with the movie, a very good movie is called The Madness of King George. King George was mad. He had manic depressive bouts. And
look at Bilderberg. They're not allowed to look at him in the face there. I'm sorry. Go ahead. King George.
Back then, people don't realize that it was a crime. It was a crime to look the king in the eye. An absolute crime. You were locked up in prison for it. And that was in the 1800s. And right up into the 1900s, you were not allowed to look them in the eye. Hillary Clinton did the same thing when she was in the White House. None of the staff could look her in the eye. It was a major offense. And this is the standard technique of the psychopath at the top, who's utterly brutal and wants total subservience from all the meek and humble beneath them. And the more you comply and be meek and humble, the more they despise you for being so weak.
And then that legitimizes their abuse of you in their sadomasochistic minds. And notice all the torture in Iraq and the secret bases in Europe, it's all sexual. That's been declassified. Raping children, using battery acid, Jeffrey Dahmer, Hellraiser stuff is now good. The psychopaths are turning the whole world's psychological atmosphere into hell.